blue. An old Catholic school rivalry, as these teams first met back in 1912. Tonight, the 54th meeting, but the first since 2011. And the first basket of this meeting goes to Justin Miller of Detroit Mercy. Miller, a senior from Kentucky, transfer from Louisiana Lafayette.
And when you talk about physicality, he is the biggest man on the court at 268 pounds.
That's a good sign for the Irish. TJ Gibbs strokes the game's first triple. He has not shot the ball well lately.
And the question is, will Notre Dame get the TJ Gibbs who's performed at a high level in conference play, or the young man who performed against Maryland, scoring no points in 30 minutes?
Well, Detroit Mercy answers with a three of their own from Marquise Moore, and their top three-point shooter at 43% from downtown this season.
Two struggling offenses finding their rhythm here in the first minute.
And how about the alley-oop to Jawan Durham? So Notre Dame hitting from the outside and then in tight.
Very interesting. Notre Dame shows that full court pressure. Detroit Mercy, 15 turnovers a game.
And an offensive rebound. Brandon kicked it out, gets it back in the corner. Driving, missing, but getting fouled.
Great vision here and execution. You see the spacing. Jawan Durham points to the sky. TJ Gibbs in full rhythm right there, in sync, and high-level punctuation. Couple angles. Look that good.
Jawan Durham with the game's first foul, and that puts Chris Brandon at the free throw line for a pair. Sophomore from Houston. Now this Detroit Mercy team tonight using their sixth different starting lineup. Mike Davis is trying to find the right chemistry, the right combination of players. Now, this is also a team that's played a lot of games on the road. They lost to Eastern Michigan this past weekend in what was their home opener. Gibbs, 2 of 2 from downtown to open this game for Notre Dame. And it's a 3-point lead.
Picking up where he left off of that second half versus BC, 18 points, was on fire. That momentum has carried over to the start here. And Notre Dame, for an offense that's been sputtering at times, needs to continue to ride that hot hand.
2 minutes deep. Opening half here in South Bend. The floater from B.J. Maxwell tipped out of bounds, and it belongs to the Irish.
And you can just see the confidence oozing off the screen here. I mean, that is deep range, and that is non-committal defense from Detroit Mercy for a guy who is clearly a threat and clearly a hot hand at TJ Gibbs. This is a zone defense they're showing. The Irish shooters should thrive.
Gibbs this time kicking. Mooney from the baseline, and he's on the scoreboard. A senior from Orlando and preseason All-ACC first-team selection.
And you almost got to wonder, with the high-level efficiency and execution of Notre Dame against this Detroit Mercy zone, will they consider going man? Because TJ Gibbs carving it up, passing and shooting.
Notre Dame on a 7-0 run. And that's a turnover on the Titans, as the Irish have doubled up Detroit Mercy, a team that has had trouble scoring. They also allow a lot of points, averaging their opponents about 80 points per game.
Here's your heat check from Gibbs. Feels good. Yeah, he's got the perpetual green light at this point.
A miss by Antoine Davis, but tipped back up and in by Brandon. So he's had a couple of offensive rebounds here in the first half. A team in the Titans that doesn't get many second cracks on offense. But hitting the offensive glass so far in this opening half here in South Bend. Pflueger finding Durham, and he's fouled underneath.
It's a winning play from Rex Pflueger. Patient, cerebral with that basketball, and a forgotten art, moving without it. Jawan Durham carving out some space, making himself an available receiver to earn an opportunity at the free throw line.
And Durham, the senior from Tampa, transfer from UConn after his freshman year. And the loss to Boston College this past weekend. Had 8 points and 4 blocks, matching a season high in terms of block shots. But this is a Notre Dame team that's trying to erase that Boston College game from their memory. It's the first time they lost to BC in 13 years.
Coach Bray said, you know, at some point we knew that this would come. We just didn't want it to happen in this point and on our home floor. But he said, I mean, what a run they've had against a well-coached Coach Jim Christian squad. And eventually the streak's going to come to an end.
And Jordan, Mike Bray took ownership of what happened last week. The blowout loss at Maryland and the 1-point loss to Boston College here. And he said, I just didn't have my guys ready to play. I've got to give them more.
Which was really interesting because I asked Coach about those words, and he essentially said when Robbie Carmody goes down with the ACL injury, his team was down. That sophomore class of guys, Nate Leshevsky, Dane Goodwin, these guys were down and losing their teammate, and Coach said, I could have done a better job of saying, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Boston College won't feel sorry for you. Go compete. Coach felt like in the first half, seeing his team's performance versus Boston College, they didn't have that edge because they were missing their guy. He said it was up to him to manage the pulse of the team. He failed to do that, took full ownership.
Miller with a spin move against Durham, who gets the block. And a timeout with just over 4 minutes gone by first half in South Bend. The Irish, having lost the last 2 in a row. Detroit Mercy has lost 4 in succession. Both of these teams need a quality win to jumpstart their campaigns here, as we are just over 1 month into the season now. Marquise Moore misses everything, and a rebound to Durham.
And Notre Dame switches into the 2-3 zone right there to try and confuse Antoine Davis.
TJ Gibbs with 2 3-point baskets so far, misses that time. There's Antoine Davis, the ball handler, the scorer, the Mr. Do-Everything for this Detroit Mercy team, as Durham pulls that one away from Miller. Antoine Davis, number 0 in blue. Head coach Mike Davis's son. And that one's going to go the other way. A foul on Notre Dame. And Davis isn't just any other coach's son taking up a roster spot. This guy is legit. He's the top returning scorer in all of college basketball from last year, and currently the 4th leading scorer in the country.
And just a productive guy. Percentages aren't great, but he's a volume shooter. I just like his motor. I mean, this is a guy that is not afraid of the shot, not afraid of the moment, the ultimate creator for his team on the offensive side, but also gets up in you and guards at nearly over 2 steals per game. He's going to try and create some offense through the defense as well.
Now the problem is he bruised a knuckle on his shooting hand. It bothers him to actually catch and shoot the basketball. He also woke up sick this morning, skipped shoot around, and add to that, he's been suffering from tendonitis in his knees, so not at 100% here this evening. Pflueger on the spin. Notre Dame once again doubling up the Titans here. 14-7 coming up on 14 minutes left to go here in the first half.
And that's a big move from Dane Goodwin, a guy who's not afraid to get it inside the arc. One of the Irish's most consistent performers, has struggled in the last few games offensively. A positive sign for him to get going off the bench.
A miss by Davis and out of bounds to the Irish. Antoine Davis, last year, as a freshman for Detroit Mercy, broke Steph Curry's record for the most 3-point baskets in a season with 132. That's saying something. A corner 3 pops out for Leshevsky. Nate Leshevsky, the sophomore from Jupiter, Florida, just has not been knocking it down from the outside lately, though.
And talking with Coach Bray, say, how do you keep the confidence of a specialist, a guy known for his 3-point shot who's currently shooting 22% on the season from beyond the arc? Coach simply said, continue to let him know he can take those shots. Nobody's going to pull him for missing. The only time I'll get upset with a guy like Nate is when he hesitates to take the shot. You're a shooter. We brought you in here to do that. Don't shy away from it. Don't get too much inside your head. A clean 3-point look from you is a win for our offense.
That's tipped out to Detroit Mercy. So a turnover by Notre Dame. Turnovers uncharacteristically plaguing the Irish in their last 2 games. And lost to Boston College as well as Maryland. In the Maryland game, they had 9 turnovers in the first half, and at the time were averaging just 9.5 per game on the season. Antoine Davis trying to find room. And it stays with the Titans.
And the Irish with those turnovers, uncharacteristic, yes, but because their offense is so out of rhythm. When guys aren't knocking down shots, you're accustomed to knocking down shots. And in the flow of practice, you get those and you make them, you're disrupted. So then you're trying to force the issue in certain places. Places where you don't normally turn it over become tally turnovers.
Brad Calipari. And he knocks down the second three-point basket of the first half for the visitors. And yes, that name is familiar. It's John Calipari's son, as that is going to be a foul on the Titans here. Marquise Moore will get tagged here for Detroit Mercy.
And that's what he does, Brad Calipari. He's a three-point shooter. When he's on the floor, the defense must recognize that that's the shot he's going to be hunting. There must be an awareness at all times. There's not many offensive weapons for Detroit Mercy. This is undoubtedly one beyond the three-point line. He's taking nearly 7 of those per game.
Brad Calipari is a graduate student here at Notre Dame. Played for his father for 3 years at Kentucky. Got in 27 games. Graduated from there in 3 years, so he has 2 years of eligibility in Detroit.
Got a text from his father today, said, I'm coming to watch you, Jordan. Don't mess this broadcast up. Obviously say that as a joke, here to watch his son. He is on hand somewhere with more basketball royalty, and Coach Digger Phelps, an absolute legend here. So they are here. Coach Cal not wanting the spotlight, wanting his son to have it, and right now he's delivering, coming off the bench, banging down that three.
And Antoine Davis just can't get going so far. 0 of 3 from 3. Mashevsky the miss for Notre Dame, and Goodwin can't track it down. Just about 7 minutes gone by. 6-point lead for the Irish. Antoine Davis, known for his rigorous summer workouts, shooting the basketball, sometimes 5,000 jump shots a day from three-point range. Here he is driving and floating it in the lane. Davis charging to the baseline. Marquise Moore gets a step. And that's going to be an offensive foul on Moore. And Davis is down.
A lot of contact there. Can tell that Davis a little shaken up. Looked like he maybe caught one to the throat inadvertently, without question. Goodwin had no idea the screen was coming. Shocked they're not going to go to the monitor to look at the contact, albeit accidental from Dane Goodwin. Typically that gets a review. It would have been a non-call.
Right.
I do think they got the right call with the action and the contact being initiated from an awkward screening opportunity from Davis. So the right call made.
Wide open look for Pflueger. And Notre Dame, throughout the last several games, has been getting good looks just like that. They haven't been knocking them down. So far, so good, though, here tonight.
That's been vintage Notre Dame over the years, the foundation of success, drive and kick. They've had the drive where the dribbler touches the paint, gets the feet in there, collapses the D. They haven't been able to punctuate it with the shot. Pflueger, however, does it there.
Willie Isiani misses on the 3. Marquise Moore as it blocks out of bounds and over to Notre Dame. Rex Pflueger.
After post-surgery.
Really?
And I had him repeat to her, "I love you," from Rex. And I took that exact heartbeat, and I actually got it tattooed on my wrist.
And after her passing, the team went to Dana Point, California for a celebration of her life. They all got together, went out to support Rex and the family in Southern California. Tremendous story, tremendous young man. And there's a three-point basket by Dane Goodwin.
And I'll tell you, countless times I've sat here calling these games, or here as a fan, and I've looked over and I've seen Rex's father and his mother with the most bright, radiant smile, watching one of her 2 sons do what he loves the most, put on a jersey for Notre Dame. And I think we all collectively felt a blow when we lost her because of what she meant, obviously to the Pflueger family, but to the Notre Dame family as well.
Durham on the turnaround against a double team, and he still finds a way to bury it. And the lead grows to double digits for Notre Dame here as we approach the midpoint of the opening half.
This is big for Notre Dame, a team that has struggled to generate offense, versed better opponents in the previous 2 games, but nonetheless has struggled. To see the ball go in the basket does a lot for their psyche and morale.
Dwayne Rose Jr. is fouled as he tries to drive inside. And a pair of free throws coming up for the nephew of Derrick Rose. Dane Goodwin with the foul for Notre Dame, his first personal. So Dwayne Rose Jr. playing in the same city where Uncle Derrick is playing. He hit the game-winning shot last night in the victory over the Pelicans for the Pistons.
Maybe the most entertaining part of that was the post-game interview where he said, "This is what I do." Derrick Rose is quite the talent. What could have been, but most enjoyable, what he's currently doing. Never gave up. A resilient athlete and one-of-a-kind athlete.
Dwayne Rose Jr. From the Chicago area. Played his freshman year at Toledo, then played at Southwestern Illinois College last year before making his way to Detroit.
Troy Mercy has been shifting back and played several sequences now here consecutively in man. Not trusting their defense versus the zone, but still can't find the antidote for these shooters as it's been balanced effort from the Irish beyond the arc.
Prentice Hub with his first triple. Notre Dame shooting 50% from beyond the arc, 5 of 10. And the largest lead of the night for the Irish here at 12 points. Six to shoot. Miller has it pop out. Wide open underneath. Dane Goodwin just laying it up and in. Missed assignment for Detroit Mercy, and as a result, Mike Davis wants a timeout.
Going to be okay with getting beat down floor and a guy right underneath the goal and no defenders within eyesight. That's when coach is going to stomp his foot, dig into guys a little bit, and challenge them for a greater effort coming out of the timeout. Hey, you'll see it, Steve. This is inexcusable. This guy's not communicating, running to the basketball, not guys identifying who they have. That lack of communication coupled with effort, and that's the kind of result you get on the look from your coach. Although I got to say, I've known Coach Davis for some time now. He really doesn't ever change his demeanor. He always has that same look, whether he's playing in the championship game with Indiana in 2002 or losing by 14 here in South Bend, an even keel guy.
It's part of what has made him successful. And there's a turnover, though, by his team. Goodwin in the open floor, laying it in. Pflueger just threaded the pass so fluidly to him.
How about the effort from Goodwin? A rugged athlete extends to get in the passing lane and continues his momentum for the leak out. Pretty impressive stuff. And this is the effort. This is what Coach Bray's talking about when he wants to see his guys compete. Dane Goodwin giving this team the absolute lift. Shoots the gap, great deny, saves it in time, but doesn't give up on the play. Continues for the leak out, catches, doesn't even use a dribble to finish on the other end.
Now, B.J. Maxwell being taken back to the locker room. Took a shot for the Titans, so he's going to leave here with 8.5 left to go in the first half. Willie Isiani coming back in, replacing Chris Brandon in the Detroit Mercy lineup. For Detroit Mercy, what's the key at this point? We're over the halfway point of this first half, and Notre Dame's been stretching their lead.
It's not enough as Antoine Davis turns water into wine on that possession as his teammates lie flat on the baseline, and he goes one-on-one. He's got to find a way to utilize more ball screens. They've got to find a way to defend the three-point line better, and then you can kind of decrease this deficit.
Mooney bumping into Miller, double teamed, finds Leshevsky underneath, came up short. And off Leshevsky and out.
And I know Mama Calipari is watching, so she would probably say the graphic is wrong. Son of Ellen, not son of Coach Cal, son of Ellen. I'm sure it goes for the mothers for all of them on there.
Nate Leshevsky drains it from three. And as we come up on the final 7 minutes of the first half, Notre Dame extending this largest lead of the night, now 34-19. Justin Miller with the shot clock in single digits. Willie Isiani finally hits a three for Detroit Mercy.
And that is going to be the challenge. Nate Laszewski has to understand, Isiani will extend you out and comfortably shoot that three, shooting about 33% from distance.
But the Titans as a team just 3 of 12 from beyond the arc. Notre Dame, meanwhile, 6 of 12. That's just a 2.
Antoine Davis showing you that rhythm bounce. You give him any kind of space. He's got a quick twitch, quick trigger.
Davis started 0 of 3 from the field. Now 4 of 4 since, but still without a three-point basket. TJ Gibbs had it partially blocked.
TJ Gibbs had the hot hand good one on the baseline. When you see a bigger defender in the paint, don't be afraid to be unselfish and kick there.
Steal by the Irish, kicked around. Laszewski leads the 2-on-1, and Prentice Hub with the finish.
Exactly how you drew it up right there. A little kick of the basketball, corral it, kick it, and finish.
And an 11-3 run. Miller trying to work around Mooney. Got his own rebound and a timeout. So Justin Miller, the senior, transfer from Louisiana Lafayette, where he played each of the last 3 seasons. Native of the state of Kentucky, and there is the head coach of Kentucky, the Wildcats, John Calipari. But tonight, just the father of Brad in attendance alongside Digger Phelps.
Yeah, and in between them, the greatest human of the 3, Linda, Digger Phelps' wife. And there's a lot of wins up there sitting. A lot of basketball knowledge, some high IQ conversations. I know both of those legends in the game had a chance to go to the very famous landmark here on campus, the Grotto, light a candle. Very strong faith-based men, and absolutely excited to watch Coach Cal's son here, no doubt, and Brad, a sharpshooter, a former Kentucky Wildcat who did his job as a student in 3 years and has 2 years of eligibility as a grad student there with Detroit Mercy. Focus, locked in.
Yeah, he is a pure scorer. He just needs the ability to get his shot off, needs the screens, needs some help in order to do that, as Isiani here, who had that 3 last time down floor, tries to drive, and coming away, there's a foul on Isiani, his first.
But for as much as Brad brings, Coach Cal's son is a shooter and another weapon, he also comes from a winning culture. He's a coach's son, so an extension of stability and leadership comes to this team via another institution, and that's something that, without a question, Coach Davis was excited to welcome on board to try and bring a winning formula and winning attitude here to his team.
Tough shot by Mooney. Just his second basket of the night. Haven't really needed his offense here. Now with 5 minutes left to go first half. 38-24 is the lead. And Davis, the shooter's role in a very shooter-friendly arena here at the Purcell Pavilion.
Very connected with that right hand in rhythm jump shot.
Prentice Hub, backdoor cut, gets the feed from Gibbs. It's the second time an Irish player has found himself alone underneath the basket for an easy lay-in.
Notre Dame operating extremely high level offensively, getting whatever they want.
Mooney clears the glass. Top rebounder per game in the nation in college basketball. Pflueger scoping out a 3.
And what's so impressive about John Mooney as a rebounder, you watch him, he is not an elite athlete. He doesn't jump out of gym, he's not the strongest guy. It's his timing, his knack for the basketball, and unrelenting effort. He's going to go after that thing, and he's never going to give up on any ball until it's in his possession. And it's that desire, that edge, that want to, that makes him the nation's top rebounder. It's remarkable.
Averaging 13.5 boards per game. In the loss to BC in the last outing, had 18 rebounds, a season high so far.
I mean, it's a joy to watch a guy do the job he does on the backboard. Oh, by the way, is one of the top scoring options for the Irish as well.
No, but that time, good luck to find Laszewski. Traveled with the basketball, just couldn't get the handle, even though it was a terrific pass. All Irish here, under 4 to go, first half. When you're feeling the groove. You got to do it.
Hey, oh yeah.
Davis on the fall away. And that'll be knocked out and over to the Irish.
And if there's one of very few early critiques from the Irish, is grabbing clean defensive rebounds and allowing your offense to get out and go and achieve early stuff. They've given up 5 offensive rebounds, losing the battle there on the backboard where they can be better and improve, no doubt.
14-point lead for the Irish, who have led from almost the opening tip. Detroit Mercy got the first field goal, but ever since then it's been all Notre Dame here in this opening half of play. 7 to shoot here. And pass gets by Mooney and out of bounds. One thing they have done from the last 2 games where they were turning the ball over a lot, they've cleaned that up here this evening, taking good care of the basketball, which is always one of the signature features of this Mike Brey program.
No question, Steve, and great balance. Everybody who's checked into this game has contributed by scoring points, and this is huge for a team lacking confidence offensively.
Deep 3 by Gibbs, who hit his first 2 triples of the game. Gibbs now 2 of 5 from beyond the arc here in this opening half of play. Under 3 to go. Willie Isiani looking for his second 3, and he knocks it down. Isiani, the sophomore from the country of Georgia. But Notre Dame comes right back. Goodwin lays it up and in. Leading scorer on the night so far with 13 points. Only Irish player in double figures so far.
And that's a favorable matchup for Goodwin going against Isiani, who just doesn't move nearly as quick, allowing blow-by after blow-by for Goodwin to get whatever he wants on the floor. It's good defensive effort. That's a tough shot. That's making a great scorer meet a chest, take a low percentage one. But some guys just have that in the bag, and Antoine Davis is representative of that.
Gibbs, all kinds of daylight for a 3. And another opportunity for the Irish. Shot clock resetting to 20 after the offensive rebound, but it won't take long for Mooney to put it away.
Perfect sequence that exemplifies what you get from your big man down low. He gets the rebound, doesn't grab it, John Mooney, but tips it out to one of his teammates, who then resets, and then he finishes with a dunk. Gives you the rebounding, the second chance opportunity, then the conversion to punctuate.
A minute and a half left to go here in the first 20. Shot clock in single digits.
Irish showing that 2-3 zone again. Got to get out to shooters and rebound.
Dane Goodwin. A pure stroke from downtown, and Goodwin extending what has been his best first half of the season. Now 16 points and 2 of 3 from 3-point range.
A fantastic response from a 1-for-9 performance in the Boston College loss. Clearly wanted to come out here and make a statement, and has in the first stanza.
Under a minute to go now. 16-point advantage for Notre Dame. Davis taking Hub off the dribble. He's their leading scorer, now has 14 points, but still doesn't have a 3-point basket. And remember, Davis is the guy who broke Steph Curry's record for number of 3-pointers in a single season last year, but showing his versatility in scoring here tonight.
And he's sick and he's injured. I don't want to see this young man at 100%. They might be winning this game. I mean, he is a unique talent. The mid-range game is at another level. The rhythm bounce is what the Irish need to take away from him. Get up in him a little bit more, disrupt him, be an irritant, and not let him casually get to his shots. This guy just has an arsenal that is second to none.
This is some shooter tradecraft.
Yeah, and it's the same release point. You can tell it's repetition from a guy that's a gym rat, a coach's son. And he elevates on that jump shot, can stop on a dime to create that space. Impressive.
7 of 8 from 2-point range, 0 of 3 from downtown. I mentioned before how he's been known for taking 5,000 3-point shots a day during the summer. His highest ever in one 24-hour period, 10,000 3-point shots.
And you can tell a lot of what he likes to do is that stop on a dime and elevate with inside, being with inside the 3-point line, and it is a challenge for the Irish, you almost want to try to get to a spot where let's get the basketball out of his hands, then deny him, see if the other 4 guys on the floor can beat you.
Problem for the team, though, they need to find some help for him, other resources, so they can take some of the load off his shoulders.
Isiani's been able to bang down a couple of threes, but that has been too few and far between for a team that cannot keep up with the Irish and their ability to score points in bunches this evening.
In the final seconds, Mooney tips in the Leshevsky miss. And now Davis at the horn takes us to the break here at the Purcell Pavilion. A 20-minute session dominated by the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame leading Detroit Mercy. So as the second half commences, the message for each team in the locker room coming out.
Yeah, defensively guard the three-point line. Detroit Mercy back in that 2-3 zone. Collapse and contest all three-point shots. They did not do so with the hot hand out of the gates to begin the game. TJ Gibbs, and he hits one from the baseline there. There has to be an awareness of all shooters. Notre Dame is playing vintage Notre Dame basketball at this point. And for Notre Dame, a green awareness of all times of Antoine Davis and more competition on the backboard to eliminate second chance for Detroit Mercy.
Justin Miller backing in against Durham. That's a no-win proposition. But out of bounds last touch by Mooney. So Miller showing some good fight to help retain possession.
And going off of it, there just hasn't been many clean defensive rebounds from the Irish to be able to get that thing out, let it, and go.
Now bad news getting worse for Detroit Mercy, as B.J. Maxwell, who we saw leave and head to the locker room late in that first half, the graduate student from Austin, Texas, will not return after suffering an injury. Antoine Davis, meantime, charged with the foul here for the Titans. And that's a big blow for this Titan team. Maxwell just coming back from another injury. He missed the first 7 games because of a fractured thumb. And their most recent game, they lost to Eastern Michigan over the weekend, was his first game back, and now he's gone again as Davis hits.
Yeah, Davis hits, and TJ Gibbs needs to make a concerted effort of sticking that hand defensively in his face to be somewhat disruptive. With your hands down, you can't truly contest anything.
Nobody contesting that slam from Jawan Durham.
Notre Dame does such a good job of taking care of the basketball. Aside from what was an anomaly in the first half versus Boston College, they're one of the nation's best at valuing the ball, just around 10 turnovers per game. So against this zone, they're able to carve it up with high IQ passing and movement. And with how they're shooting the ball, there's really nothing you can do to combat what they're doing on that side.
19-point lead is the largest of the night for Notre Dame. 6 to shoot. Miller over Mooney. Justin Miller hit the first basket of the game, but he has struggled since then. Just one other bucket so far the rest of the way.
And Antoine Davis with momentum. Look at TJ Gibbs, his hands are down. And you know the phrase, hand down, man down. And then right there, just Rex Pflueger. He's not gonna low jump with 20 points per game, but he's gonna make the winning plays, throwing it down to Jawan Durham in the hoof.
Miller coming out of the game. Bo Gidjewel, a sophomore from Los Angeles, checking in. Pflueger slipping and tried to pass it as he was going down, but it's out of bounds, and a turnover on the Irish. And Pflueger still down.
For Pflueger recovering from an ACL, that is a deep sigh for everybody of relief that he is up on his own accord, but moving gingerly.
And it would be an understatement to say they can't afford to lose him after some of the other injuries they've suffered.
I almost think it was just obviously a wet spot on the floor, but it looked like it was the other leg that gave out. And it is a good sign that he is moving on his own accord.
He missed the final 23 games last year because of his left ACL injury. But the Irish this season just losing sophomore Robbie Carmody to an ACL in his left knee in the final minutes of a loss to Maryland last week. And they're dropping bodies here at Notre Dame, and they can't afford to. Davis continuing to score from all over the floor. Still hasn't hit his first 3-point basket, but he's 8 of 12 now from the field.
And if he only takes one more step further back, these are 3-point shots as TJ Gibbs bangs down his second triple of the half. As you take a look, Rex Pflueger walking off with the training staff to the locker room. Not a good sight for Irish fans, for a young man who's dealt with so much over the last calendar year.
3 minutes gone by, second half. The lead is 20. Davis. Finally, a rare miss, but Gitchell with the offensive putback. And a turnover by Notre Dame. Davis, the no-look pass. Led his man Gitchell a little too far that time. And the Irish take over. TJ Gibbs, the hot hand all night long. He cans another three. That is now 5 triples on the night for TJ Gibbs, a guy who came in struggling from downtown and now has 15 points on the night.
I got to say, I'd be stunned if Detroit Mercy for the final 16 minutes of the contest remain in that zone, because TJ Gibbs, his eyes are enormous right now. Can't wait to get on the offensive end and hoist another.
Here's Davis, 9 of his last 11 from the field, that time distributing, and Calipari connects. 3-point basket for Brad Calipari, whose dad John is in attendance here tonight. And there's Goodwin with the putback for Notre Dame on the other end, coming off his sensational first half where he had 16 points. It's his first 2 here in the second frame.
Detroit Mercy simply cannot get stops, so no matter what kind of Herculean effort you get on the offensive end from Antoine Davis individually, you're going to have to start to get stops if you want to have a chance.
Calipari with the corner 3, and that's back-to-back triples for the graduate student from Kentucky.
He's like, look, you don't want to pass me the ball. I guess I'll just wait for it to find its way into my hands, and I'll do the part to get us back into this. The sharpshooter coming alive.
Gibbs always has an answer. They're just going to feed TJ Gibbs and watch him go off from deep. 6 of 13 from beyond the arc now.
And he is getting it going. Fun to watch TJ Gibbs, a guy who, when he's hot, he's as good as any in the country.
And it ties a career high in made 3-point baskets in a single game for the senior from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. But there's Antoine Davis with his first triple on the other end for Detroit Mercy.
As strong as the Irish have been offensively, that is now 3 consecutive trips down where you're giving up a 3-pointer defensively. Have to have a better awareness defending the arc.
Well, now it's just a 3-point shooting contest. Dane Goodwin with the most recent one. And they're burying them from all over the place.
And if you're Jawan Durham, the big fellow who hasn't attempted a 3 all season long, you're thinking, well, this ain't an offensive game for me, so I got to be thinking putbacks.
That's tipped out of bounds and stays with Detroit Mercy.
How about TJ Gibbs, and why not more TJ Gibbs? If it feels good, keeps.
Now 21 points. And Davis just 5 away from 1,000 for his career at this point. And remember, he is just a sophomore. Shot clock violation this time on Detroit Mercy. His dad developed him as a project growing up. And essentially, Mike Davis had read the book, The Talent Code. We talked about repetition and how that contributed so much to someone's success in an individual pursuit. And that's a reason that he's had Antoine shooting 5,000 3-point shots a day and doing these sorts of drills with NBA Hall of Famers along the way, and it's paid off.
Yeah, no question. A young man who's very quietly goes about his business, and one of the more talented players in the college game as the 3-point barrage continues for the Irish. Some good news for Irish fans. Rex Pflueger has returned to the bench. Got word that he just tweaked his knee, is just simply a little sore, and will not play again unless needed in this contest, but will be fine moving forward.
Goodwin, open lane to the basket, and how about Mooney with the one-handed follow? 8-0 run now for the Irish. Davis, crafty dribble, shooting over Mooney. Detroit Mercy team looking for just their second win of the season. And that's going to be out of bounds.
Just a tough one to handle right there. You saw what Davis was trying to do, but Brandon trying to catch a bounce pass almost at the shins, couldn't get low enough to handle and finish. But Antoine Davis so crafty with his movement, pace, and tempo.
So timeout with 12.5 left to go. Notre Dame, the commanding lead with 12.5 minutes left to play here in South Bend. TJ Gibbs, leading three-point shooter on the night. A rare miss for him, but he gets it back.
And I'll tell you, it has just been clinical for the Irish offensively. So that is their 25th assist on 29 made field goals.
And Dane Goodwin with a new career high. That's 24 points for him tonight, and he's 4 of 5 from beyond the arc as well. Antoine Davis, fall away, tough shot.
Davis is putting the team on his back. Some timely shots from Brad Calipari. Outside of those two, they just haven't got the help.
Juwan Durham, no answer for him underneath, and the senior from Tampa.
Juwan Durham has done a phenomenal job manning that short corner. What I mean is the baseline. It's a few feet pushed in from the three-point line. As a guy who's been able to catch, collapse the defense, or punctuate with dunks right there, has really been effective.
Justin Miller, really nowhere to go, but he does draw the foul on Durham. 78.
For lymphoma. There she is on the right with our dog and my now wife, Shay. And she, through the chemo, lost her hair, was going through a horrific fight. Again, stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. We did not know what was going to be the outcome, but the one who was the stabilizing force, the one who felt like everything was going to be okay and who we found strength with was Coley Stagger, the sixth grader. It was unbelievable. Fast forward 6 years to now. That's her, as beautiful, the same radiant smile. She's in remission. She's a freshman at Indiana. She's dating a quarterback who's played collegiate football elsewhere, and she's studying to be a nurse, to be like the nurses who helped save her life through the contributions to something like Jimmy V. And we can all take a deep breath, sigh of relief, and get to love on each other these holidays. So make sure to never give up, like the great Jimmy V said, and it's all about the legacy that he left and those who continue his fight today. Coley, a survivor.
And join ESPN and the V Foundation in the fight against cancer. Visit v.org/donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research.
And you know, I kind of chuckled, Steve, as another 3 goes for the Irish. I wondered if my sister-in-law would be okay with her bald head being exposed, but she wore it like a badge of honor. She knew she was beautiful even during the fight, and she's as beautiful as ever as we stand here in early December in 2019. So blessed to have her. Love her to death.
And just a tremendous story.
It's a million like them.
Miller. Leszewski tried to draw the charge. Now for Detroit Mercy. Not the night they would have wanted, but probably the night they expected. Head coach Mike Smith said that, or Mike Davis, I should say, was talking about coming in how they don't necessarily expect to win these games, but he schedules tough games because he wants them to be ready for Horizon League play. He says it really doesn't matter the outcome, wins or losses. He wants to see effort. He wants to see improvement. He sees Leszewski lay another one in for Notre Dame there, but he just wants his team to be ready come January.
It's a rebuild. Everybody knows what's going on at Detroit Mercy, but when you bring in the caliber of coach with the resume that Mike Davis has, you understand that it'll be sped up a little bit more with his acumen. He won 11 games last year. Is that world beater material? Absolutely not. But this is a team that won 3 games more than the year before. So he's slowly starting to get his guys in here, trying to cultivate a culture with guys like a Brad Calipari who comes from Kentucky and brings in that winning attitude, bringing in more pieces, getting out there recruiting and selling the program. And he's doing the work, and they're making progress. The scoreboard doesn't signify it here, but they're getting there.
And a technical foul has been called on Justin Miller. He was about to go to the free throw line, and now he's been called for a tee. going to say that it's a double technical. Miller and Prentice Hub for Notre Dame. Let's take a look back and get a glimpse of what may have happened here between Miller and Hub.
Some slick talk on the court, something we can't see, but the officials right there in between. Hey, look, I don't endorse any kind of confrontation, but
it's all in the dialogue.
My money's on Miller in that one first home.
Well, Miller is the leading free throw shooter on this team at almost 90%. In fact, leads the entire Horizon League conference. But head coach Mike Davis says that he's just got to get in better shape. He can be a contributor as he grabs the rebound there. He can be that big body in the middle that he needs, but he just can't be as big as he is now. Yeah. A littler big body.
Yeah. He was able to do it. I mean, he contributed nearly a double-figure score in Louisiana Lafayette. So they have a resume to speak to in what he's been able to do in a college game. And again, it's one of those pieces that hopefully can ooze some of that competitive spirit and edge.
Just over the halfway point of our second half of play. Notre Dame, the sizable advantage here, 83-55. Antoine Davis continues to score.
Some guys, Steve, you can just tell are good basketball players, God-given ability, and of course, Antoine has that, but these are repetition moves. He's determined to get to a spot, a sweet spot on the floor, and deliver an offering, which time and time again, he converts.
And he's now just 1 point away from 1,000 for his career. He is gonna be the fastest player in school history to 1,000 points. Almost got it right there, and he's gonna do it in record fashion by some 4 games. Earlier than the previous record holder, Dave DeBusschere, the Detroit native and 2-time NBA champion.
Pretty good player there, Dave DeBusschere. But as you watch Antoine Davis, one thing I marvel at too, Steve, is that he's not an incredible athlete, much like I talked about John Mooney and his ability as he checks back in to be a rebounder. Antoine Davis is a guy that doesn't jump out of the gym. He's not the fastest guy, but he understands pace. He understands the opportunity and when to go seize it. And his mid-range game is next level.
So with that free throw, that's an even 1,000 points in his first 39 career games. 1,001. And with his 1 3-point basket here tonight, he has also kept his streak of consecutive games with the triple alive. He's hit a 3-pointer in every one of his college games in his career. Gibbs lost the handle going up. Mooney from outside. Jawan Durham tied up. And he'll head to the free throw line.
And when I look at this Notre Dame team, the same thought comes back to my mind time and time again. Guys being stars in their role. And when they do that, the sum of all parts will elevate this Notre Dame team to get to the place they'd like to be at. Jawan Durham being a star in his role, a rim protector, a second chance guy going after the glass and creating opportunities, and then a back to the basket score. Win at those parts of the game, then you make yourself an exemplary piece in that role. Other guys start to fill their roles, and Notre Dame is not the team that I think they are right now is the most disappointing in conference. I say that because the expectation I had coming into the season and where they're at right now isn't there. But the promise and the potential is very, very evident, and they can get there with guys like Jawan doing that kind of thing time and time again.
How much will you take from this game, though? This was one that they were expected to win, and frankly expected to win by a wide margin like they are right now. So how much of a yardstick game is this for Notre Dame in reality?
It's not something that's going to make the headlines across the national landscape, but it's huge to gain momentum and confidence to feel good with the schedule ahead. Seeing John Mooney shoot 30% from 3, knock it down. The team shooting what they are from the 3-point line, which is now, that can't be right, 60%. I mean, that's impressive. That, to me, is something that's going to carry on for them moving forward. Hey, this is what we can do. Who cares the opponent? We're putting the ball in the basket.
And on the outlet here, a foul is going to be called. 88-59. The lead continues to swell for the
incredible game. 12.7 boards, 5 blocks.
And the blocks per game leaders at Notre Dame. Look at that list.
Yeah, Somebody dropped the ball with this list right here. How about the all-time leading shot blocker, you guys? I mean, come on, what are we doing?
I don't know who that would be, though.
Well, who cares about averages?
For a name. I'm
searching
for a name.
Averages. How about the all-time career leader at 201?
There we go.
I know.
So the fact that he is
Still don't love the graphic.
He's breathing down your neck.
That's
so
a record holder being disrespected there with averages.
Is that what they call shade? The millennials call shade.
A little bit of
days?
shade right there.
The only way you may stop him from getting to your record is if you suit up and just go out and block him yourself.
I tried to plead with him. I said, Juwan, be a little more selfless. Take charges. He looked at me like I was crazy. He knew I was trying to coerce him to do that.
Yeah, getting a shot blocker to take charges.
Oh, when
would that happen?
Is that a shoulder muscle on me right there? I might need to show my wife that and say that at one point there was some muscle on this body.
I don't know. We're seeing you from behind. I'm not convinced that's you. It could be somebody in a Cornet jersey.
That's very, very true. Let me tell you what sold hot off the shelves. Not the Cornet jersey.
30-point lead here for Notre Dame inside of 7 minutes now left to go. Durham's 5 blocks tonight, matching a season's best.
I got to thank all my teammates out there in my 4 years who were so awful defensively that got beat off the dribble and allowed me to block all those shots. Great offensive guys, couldn't guard.
Nikola Jogo with a miss from straight away. Now Notre Dame putting up some very impressive offensive numbers here tonight. They're 16 made three-pointers are a season high. Best field goal shooting percentage that they've had all year as well. And just adding to it with Durham once again. He is one of 4 Irish players in double figures.
The big guys, little interior passing and some impressive movement from Durham on a catch and finish.
Yassiani. And a foul on the rebound.
Some words, a little bit exchange there. 32-point game. Let's just play basketball, guys.
John Mooney stepping in to try and quiet things. And Juwan Durham has had a terrific night on both ends of the floor. 14 points, 5 of 6 from the field. And this is a Notre Dame team that needed an offensive night like this.
And that's the best way to put it, Steve, is Hump banks down a 3 right there. It's a team that needed this. These are games when you're struggling like the Irish have been in the last 2 contests. You can come out here and eke by a 1, squeak by a 1-7 Detroit Mercy team. And then your problems are compounded, and then they feel like they're snowballing. To win comfortably, if they're able to continue on this path in the last 5 minutes and 18 seconds, it's huge for confidence for what lies ahead for the Irish. They need to believe they are the guys that Coach Bray recruited, gifted offensive players who can score.
Yeah, Jordan, this is one of those games where it was not good enough just to win. It was how they were going to win and how they looked. And they passed the eye test tonight. Offensively, they're doing just what they had hoped for.
And it doesn't get easier for the Irish. They've got blue bloods waiting on deck in the Digger Phelps Classic. And we know the history of Notre Dame and UCLA. Mick Cronin does a heck of a job. They're going to be chomping at the bit for that matchup. And I just saw Indiana versus Florida State. When Indiana's playing at a high level, that's a dangerous team. I know they didn't show well in the game after, but that'll be another one, as there's a rivalry there as well. And Syracuse has never been kind to the Irish, and NC State has been inconsistent but dangerous.
Prentice Hub has a couple of triples here in the last few minutes. The Irish into triple digits. Hub 3 of 6 from downtown. This time he's going to miss the dunk. He was looking for the exclamation point of the night. Came up short. Oh no. Jogo says, this is how you do it. I'm going to give you a demonstration.
Yeah, the older lefty says, this is how you do it. Use 2 hands and use your strong hand.
Jogo, the senior from Hamilton, Ontario. 102-62, the lead at 40 points with just over 4 now left to play.
Irish number 13, Nick Jogo, his
In back-to-back sequences, the Irish
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna
saw
take
Hub.
this.
Yeah.
See what, Steve? But it was the see how my bank account works is, and then boom, that's cash money finish right there. TJ Gibbs loves it.
Gibbs has been a big part of the effort tonight for the Irish. Got them started with back-to-back three-point baskets in the opening minute of play in that first half. And now the Irish with their first 100-point game since December of last year when they beat Jacksonville. And the officials now explaining something to Mike Davis. All right, so the lead is 40, 4:11 left to go. We'll step aside and come back to South Bend in just a moment. Detroit Mercy about to drop to 1-8. But again, this is a Titan team that's just trying to toughen up for conference play coming up in just a few weeks. They've only played one home game. That was last weekend. This is their 8th road game of the season, but that is very much by design. They played some very tough teams all away from home. Mike Davis says that he wants it to be rugged. He wants it to be difficult so that when conference play rolls around in the Horizon League, these guys have a leg up. They have an advantage.
Yeah, and this definitely tests your internal fortitude. I mean, these are guys that have been doing it on the road against bigger programs, taking their lumps, and you've seen it time and time again. These mid-majors are better off for it because of the caliber athletes that they're going against. Understanding the windows to make passes, tighten a little bit quicker so you're sharper there and in all facets.
Now Nate Leszewski with the 19th three-point basket of the evening for the Irish. 63% from downtown for Notre Dame. And Leszewski again. They don't want to let up. Here's Antoine Davis, who's 27 points, is 3 times as many as anybody else on the Titan team tonight. Just 1 of 5 from three-point range, however. Now good defensive play that time by Brandon, who came over to deny Jawan Durham on the alley-oop. Now Antoine Davis sizing up what would have been his second three-point basket. Has just not been his night from downtown. Again, he was sick when he woke up this morning. Skip shoot around. His shooting hand has been bothering him as well. He's got a bruise on his knuckle. Dane Goodwin pouring it on for Notre Dame. He's got 27 points, 5 of 6 from three-point range. And that 3 there gives them 20 on the night. It ties a school record. Notre Dame 20 of 38 from downtown.
Let me tell you, you tie a Notre Dame three-point shooting record, you're having yourselves a sublime evening, because that is what Coach Bray has built his level of success here on, is three-point shooting and guard play.
And it's very much the elixir they needed after so many of their open shots just have not been going down recently. And that's so frustrating for players, for coaches. When you're getting the looks, you're not hitting the shots, all of a sudden you start to wonder, what can we do? Because, as you know, Jordan, Notre Dame doesn't have that typical beat you off the dribble kind of guy, the slasher who can really get to the basket on a consistent basis. They need those outside shots to fall, and finally they did here this evening.
Yeah, Notre Dame recruits a system. So you've got guys who do it off the bounce, but these are guys that are driving kick guys that catch and shoot are a big part of it. So when you got your guards who can get to spots, when they go to kick it, there's got to be somebody who can complete the play. Maybe this could be the turning point for those shooters for the Irish.
Well, Prentice Hub has his first double-double of his career here tonight. John Mooney with 10 and 10, his 28th career double. Jawan Durham with what seems like his 20th putback of the night, slamming it home. He's got 16 points altogether. And now coming up on the final minutes of play, Dane Goodwin eyes up a deep 3. So with Just about 60 seconds now left to go. What's going to be your big takeaway from tonight, Jordan?
That the Irish have found their way to get offense going, and these guys are capable shooters, because that takes away whoever the opponent is. They've gotten good looks offensively. They just haven't completed them. So now you take a look at yourself in the mirror and say, I can make shots. Doesn't matter who we're playing. If I get an open one, I'm not going to hesitate, because that's what our offense is predicated on. Drivers, shooters, and no conscious with the shots that you're taking. Conscious. Elijah Morgan is a walk-on. I don't really feel like it. A preferred walk-on without question. Carves up the defense, leaves it up in the air for Juwan Durham to do the rest of the work. And you see the length and the elevation from number 11, and a smile to boot.
The UConn transfer has had some kind of night along with the rest of this Irish team. Brad Calipari has been a bright spot from three-point range, leading his squad 3 of 4 from downtown tonight. And just the second player into double figures for Detroit Mercy, as Notre Dame is going to walk this one out. It's going to be a 39-point win for the Irish over the Titans. Notre Dame put 6 players in double figures, and they set a school record for three-point baskets. 20 triples on the night for Notre Dame. Shooting 51% from beyond the